Police talk tough as opposition resume nationwide protest against the IEBC. 124 high-end vehicles with outstanding tax issues recalled by the Kenya Revenue Authority. And government warns investors about mistreating workers in the mining sector. Well, good afternoon and thank you very much for joining us on KTN NewsDesk on the 16th day of May 2016. My name is Akisa Wandera. Right, let's start off from Nairobi. Opposition leaders have resumed a nationwide protest aimed at forcing the removal of commissioners at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Police have warned anti-IEBC protesters against blocking highways and damaging property, and saying they will apply the full force of the law to ensure order. There is heavy police deployment at the IEBC offices, just like it has been during the past protest marches. Court leaders and supporters are expected to converge at Uhuru Park before proceeding to anniversary towers. The demos come a day after IEBC Chairman Isaac Hassan appeared before the National Assembly's Legal Affairs Committee. Hassan remains adamant that he and his fellow commissioners will not go home. Now, police insist they will not condone any acts of hooliganism during the ongoing protest against the IEBC. Nairobi County Commander Japheth Koome, speaking earlier today, said security forces will deal firmly with any provocations of violence.
I'm not going to allow any lawlessness at all. We stated where any Kenyan is not happy with any public officer or state officer, let that fellow Kenyan use the right procedure for his grievances to be addressed. But where you use unlawful means, where you use the law of the jungle, that will not be allowed. And that's why, once more, we are here as a police service to ensure there is law and order, to ensure property and life is protected. I recall last Monday, some of you journalists were injured by stones thrown by those, criminals, people with criminal intentions. Some officers were injured. One of my lorry, the window screen was shattered. That kind of lawlessness will not be tolerated. You can picket, but there is aspect of being peaceful. Don't be armed, must be unarmed. You read that article. You must be unarmed. Be peaceful. But last time you saw, journalists were what? Did you see that? Is that peaceful? Don't I have a duty to protect that journalist? If you're peaceful, I have no business with that. I'll provide you with the security you require. But where you don't, inform the police. We have information this morning, people carrying stones in a rucksack. Is that peaceful? Isn't that person armed? My friend, I have a job to do, and I'll do it.
Nairobi County Commander there, Japheth Koome, commenting about the IEBC protest, of course, warning against violence, even as the opposition protests against the IEBC. Well, let's now cross over to the anniversary towers, where the CORD leaders are leading hundreds of their supporters now to the IEBC offices at the anniversary towers. Our reporter Chris Thairu has been there since morning. Let us join him for updates from that end. Thank you very much for joining us on NewsDesk, Chris. Kindly just give us updates on what is happening on the ground as of now.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Akisa, and dear viewers. We are still camping here at Anniversary Towers, which host IEBC offices. And apart from a few crowds that we can see at the entrance of Anniversary Towers, which is located along University Way, we understand that the court principals, Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Tangula are on their way coming. We have information that they are leading a good crowd of people marching from Pan-Afric, and they are coming on their way to Anniversary Towers. I remember the last time that they were here, the first step is that they are expected first to address the gathering here before they try to forcefully gain entrance to Anniversary Towers. Well, police are also on standby of any eventuality. Remember that the last two events that we've seen is that police were forced to use the tear gas canisters, and this time round police really deployed some strategy. On this side you see there are some police officers along the University Way, just in case some of the demonstrators think of going that direction. Also there are police officers around City Central Police Station, and also along the roundabout University roundabout, just ready and in anticipation of any eventuality. Well, we also have information that the court principals first met before meeting the crowds that was gathered to Uhuru Park so that they can march together, and that the information we have is that in a few minutes from now we'll be having the leaders will be arriving here. But contrary to last time where we saw by now they had already started addressing the media, but this time round it seems there's some strategy that they're using since they are yet to arrive, but it's only a sizable crowd that has already gathered here at Anniversary Towers, ready to storm IEBC offices. Akisa?
Now, Chris, you've said that the court leaders are making way there from the Pan-Afric. The roads that they will be using are quite busy roads. Are we witnessing a situation where business is at a standstill as of now?
Well, I didn't get your question, Akisa.
Chris, you've mentioned that the court leaders are making their way to the Anniversary Towers from the Pan-Afric, and just a concern, these are quite busy roads that they will be using from the Pan-Afric to the Anniversary Towers. Where you are right now, are we witnessing a scenario where business is at a standstill?
Well, they're coming peacefully. I remember that picketing and demonstration is allowed in the Constitution, and so they're using that leeway just to use their constitutional right to demonstrate. From Panari, they are using the Serena route. From Serena route, they'll take the route to University Way and right down here to Anniversary Towers. So far, now we've not heard of any incidences, and so normal business is ongoing, but apart from the Anniversary Towers, where some of the offices have been forced maybe to close down cause of the commotion here, we can see this is another group of demonstrators still arriving. They're still coming, but maybe others are still waiting for the principals so that they can arrive together. And so far it's calm, but the demonstrators are still charging. Let's see how this goes when the principals arrive and start addressing the crowds. Akison.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. We'll definitely be joining you later on for more updates from the Anniversary Towers. Chris Thairo there, just covering the anti-IEBC protest there by the CORD coalition leaders together with their supporters. We'll be bringing you more details even as the leaders make way to the Anniversary Towers. Now, the Kenya Revenue Authority has issued a recall notice for 124 high-end vehicles with outstanding tax issues. The vehicles comprising sports utility vehicles and related luxury units are part of an ongoing investigation covering transit vehicles suspected to have been diverted to the local market. The vehicles, which are described as having outstanding tax issues, are suspected to have initially been declared as transit cargo but later dumped in the local market. Following the publishing of the recall notice, owners of the vehicles have been asked to present the vehicles together with their original ownership transfer and importation documents to the Commissioner of Investigation and Enforcement on Tuesday morning. Our reporter Abby Agina has closely been following up that crackdown on the 124 vehicles. Let us now join him for more updates on the operation. by the KRA. Abby.
Thanks, Kisa. Well, the crackdown operation is still underway. We are right now in a Karen area where the officers as well as the CID officers are continuing with the verification exercise. We've visited so far 2 yards, and one of the yards, all the documentations of the vehicles were okay. We are now in the second yard where currently we are standing, and a number of the cars here have also been cleared, apart from one Land Cruiser VX. And the documents that they have do not tally with what the Kenya Revenue Authority has. And so far, as we speak right now, the ownership of this car, they are trying to verify, was it duly registered? So this operation has been going on since morning, and they target to have it go throughout this particular week. They'll be visiting different yards just to ascertain whether the vehicles have been paid for their duty. A lot of the high-end vehicles, according to KRA, do exempt. They actually forgo paying the taxes, which is 25% duty at the moment, and a lot of these high-end vehicles are sort of the most sought after in the Kenyan market with a growing middle class. So KRA is saying the crackdown is continuing. Since morning we are getting reports that about 5 vehicles have actually been impounded by KRA, and this was along Ngong Road, and the operation is carrying on also along Valley Road, where they will be continuing to flush out some of these dealers. A lot of car dealers are currently being put to task to put the documents and show cause why their cars cannot be seized, Akisa.
All right, thank you very much, Abi. We will be joining you later on for more updates. Abi Agina there following the crackdown on 124 vehicles. The crackdown, of course, is being carried out by the KRA. Let's now move down to the coast. Kilifi leaders have warned that they will hold demonstrations against the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor Matiang'i, for sacking Technical University of Mombasa Vice Chancellor Professor Josephat Mwatela, led by Kilifi County Governor Amason Kingi and Kaloleni member of the National Assembly Gunga Mwinga. The leaders threatened to rally residents to hold street demonstrations in the event that the Dawn is not reinstated in a week's time. Kingi said there are powerful forces behind Mwatela's sacking, and the reasons given by the Cabinet Secretary are incorrect. Mwinga, on the other hand, said the Education Cabinet Secretary overruled the University Council recommendation and went ahead to execute the sacking in an illegal manner. Mwatela was issued with a warning letter on the 25th of February this year for gross misconduct and abuse of office.
Na kupigana na mambo ya ufisadi pale Technical University of Mombasa. Professor Mwatela ameshurutishwa na wakubwa kupeana tenders kwa watu fulani na hakufanya. Na hapo ndipo safari yake ya kuachishwa kazi pale tu ikaanza. Na tunataka tuambie serikali ya Jubilee kupitia kwa Wizara ya Elimu, waziri abatilishe uamuzi ule wa kumwachisha kazi Profesa Mwatela, au sio tutamwaga mtama hadharani. Tutataja majina, nani alimshurutisha Profesa Mwatela, ni tenda gani alikuwa anashurutishwa peane, ni nani alikuwa anampatia tenda hii, kwa maana masaibu yake yakaanza.
Sisi tukiwa viongozi tunahitaji maelezo ni kwa nini kwamba waziri Matiang'i hakuweza kwenda na kuambatana na yale ambayo council ilikuwa imerecommend na akaweza kuendelea na kufuta kazi. Sisi mambo haya tumeyapokea kwa hali ambayo sio kufurahisha, na tunadhani yamefanywa kwa nia mbaya, na hiyo ni mbinu ya kujaribu kurudi mwafani na hasa wasomi ambao tuko na wapo kwa.
All right, let's now get into sports. England manager Roy Hodgson is naming his 23-man squad that will take part in the Euro 2016. With a number of top stars missing out due to injuries, new and surprise inclusions are expected in England's squad. France are the hosts of this year's Euro Cup, which kicks off from the 10th of June to the 10th of July. Let's now move over there live to witness the naming of the squad.
We've all been regulars for you over the years. How difficult was that? What kind of things did you say to them, and how did they react?
Well, Leighton Baines hasn't played for us for well over a year. He was injured for a long time. It's good to see him back playing, but in his absence, of course, people like Danny Rose in particular, Bertram Gibbs, they've been filling the breach. More Michael Carrick, I think, than Leighton, because Michael's actually played a part for us on a regular basis these last 2 years. Been unfortunate himself with injuries, but I've actually spoken to all three of those players. They were tough decisions. They're players that I respect and admire, but you have to make a decision. There's only 23 places. I decided on this occasion we would rob Peter to play Paul, in the sense of taking 7 defenders rather than the classic 8, to give me a chance to take one more player in the midfield and forward section. And unfortunately that's gone out over Phil, and it was a tough conversation, but that's the type of conversations you have to have as a coach, and I'm pleased at least I was able to get hold of him and speak to him on the telephone before this announcement, because I would have been very unhappy if he'd have found out from this press conference.
There's always players that make a late run of form, if you like, into a squad. Andros Townsend getting the nod, as it were, perhaps ahead of Theo Walcott. Was that one of the tougher decisions that you had to make?
Well, it's a decision. I mean, they're both good players. They're very different players. They play in wide positions, both of them, but they're not similar players. And of course, Andros, over the period of time, he was unlucky, I think, to lose his place in the squad when he wasn't getting a regular game in a team. But since he's gone to Newcastle, he's not only got a regular game, he's actually done very well there. So Theo, unfortunately, over the last few months has not got such a regular game and has had a few problems with injury. So it's a tough decision, of course, but it's a decision you have to take.
When you look at this squad, Roy, how do you feel it compares with the squad that you took to Brazil, and indeed the squad you took to Poland and Ukraine?
I don't like comparisons, and I don't think it's right for me to make comparisons. I understand that people will, and that's part of the fun of football. That's everyone enjoys from the outside looking in and saying, this is what I would have done and these are the players I would have taken. We've worked very hard over these qualifying games to analyse, to think about the players that we think are the right ones for this occasion. The squad this time is obviously younger. There's a lot of players who haven't got an awful lot of experience in terms of international football, but I think they've shown, certainly over the last games that we've played, that they're an exciting bunch. They're hungry, they're enthusiastic, they're energetic. There's a lot of running in the team. I think all of these things are positives, and we can only hope that the faith that certainly we as a coaching staff have in them, and I think to some extent the faith I feel that the footballing public has in them, is rewarded. But the one thing I